Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about independence and how it relates to dating and essentially trying to find that person for you, that special someone. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope it comes out okay. I'm using a new camera, so we will see how it all goes. Hope you can hear me all right. But today, yes, independence. So I've said in the past that the most important quality in dating for me anyway is the ability of my partner to just go with the flow, to not worry about little situations, to sort of focus on the good, roll with the punches. I've said that for a long time, that that's like the most attractive quality that I can find in another person, is just that ability to, oh, it's no big deal. It's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. I find that very attractive. But recently, I have been thinking and wondering and pondering the mysteries of the universe, like a little wise sage at the top of a mountain. And I've come to the conclusion that there is something that I find a lot more alluring. I find it more attractive. It's a bigger draw. It's more important to me. And that's independence and the ability of a human being to stand on their own feet, to deal with situations by themselves if they have to, the ability to not depend on other people in their life. I find that really attractive when a human being is self-sufficient to the furthest extent. Obviously, I know that nobody is truly independent. That doesn't exist. I understand that everybody exists in society together, and I would not be able to go to the gym in the morning without the snowplow and without the road construction and the people who built my gym and the people that run it every day and clean it. And like, I understand that no human being lives in a vacuum. We all need people to do certain jobs for us and that sort of thing. However, what I'm talking about is a human being who is not dependent on anybody for their emotional well-being, their spiritual well-being, their personal health, their financial well-being, someone who basically stands on their own in those aspects. Of course, we have family and friends and people that look out for us. Of course, we have those support structures in society that keep us safe and happy and healthy. But I'm talking about somebody who basically doesn't need a partner. And it's a bit of a paradox, I realize this, but the people who don't need partners, who are completely self-sufficient and they are able to live their life on their own terms without the absolute need of a significant other, those are the people that I am most drawn to. If you don't need me, I will be obsessed with you, basically, is how that works. And it's an interesting paradox because obviously, like, if you're looking for like the love of your life or your significant other, you kind of want them to need you, right? Like, you want them to really like, oh, I can't live without Jax. However, I don't like that. I think, no, no, no. Like, if you can exist without me and you are a fully formed human being with thoughts and dreams and perceptions, and you have your own social life and your own family, your own financial goals, your own fitness goals, those kinds of things are incredibly attractive. And the idea that, oh man, this person doesn't need me, I just think that's really attractive. Like, I want to be there for that person, and if I ever find, or when I find a significant other, I do hope that they are independent and they have their own world and their own thing going on, because I would like to be a part of it. I don't want to be the sun to their earth. I just want to be a part of it. I would like to be like the moon, like maybe I'm not an astronomer or anything. I don't know if we need the moon for anything. I know it affects our tidal movements on the ocean, but if the moon just disappeared, would life change that much? Maybe it would. Maybe I'm thinking of something a little too drastic. Okay, maybe it's like the constellations. If the constellations just disappeared, life would be a little less interesting, but life on Earth would go on just the same. And again, maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't do astronomy, so maybe it's a bad example. The point is, independence is incredibly attractive in other people. And so in this video, I would like to try and encourage everyone, to the best of your abilities, obviously, because, you know, it takes time and it's a process. But I'd like to encourage everyone to just think about, how independent are you? I talk to a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life. I'm a very social person. I love just striking up a conversation with a stranger. And something that seems to be at the top of everyone's priority list, especially if you're single, is trying to find a partner, and sort of the frustration of dating in this day and age, the difficulties that it is, you know. And I understand it's hard and it's difficult and it's a grind in order to try and arrange dates and get to know somebody, and then, you know, they turn out that they're not looking for a relationship, and then you're heartbroken for 2 months. And, you know, I understand, like, dating is complex and it's not straightforward at all. But one of the things I consistently hear from people is something along the lines of, I just really want a relationship. Like, I just need one. Like, I'm so lonely. And I understand that. And it's like, I very much understand that. Let's just get that through right now. But the desire to be in a relationship and the need to be in a relationship are two very different things. If you need to be in a relationship, there are probably some inadequacies in your life that you might want to just address first. If, like I said, if you aren't, and again, nobody is 100% independent. I'm not claiming to be, and I'm not saying that you have to be 100% independent. I don't think that's possible. But if you take a look at your life and go, I'm not really independent in these categories or in this part of my life, or I'm not as independent as I would like to be, it might be a thing you want to address. Because I think a lot of us, when we're dating, we are analyzing the person and trying to see if they're compatible with our life. At least that's how I do it. I've always joked with my friends that I am a very independent human being. I have been for probably since I was like 12 years old. I've been very independent, very focused on what I'm trying to accomplish and do. And I've always said to my friends, like, oh, if somebody else wants to fit into my life, awesome. But I'm not going to accommodate somebody and bend over backwards in order just to have them in my life. In other words, like, I'm not desperately trying to fill some void inside of me. I'm looking for that person that is going to just click. And I'm not willing to sacrifice my morals or my ideals. I'm not willing to sacrifice who I am as a person. I'm not willing to sacrifice my friends or my family or my way of life. And so dating is difficult. And I do run into a lot of people who are very independent. And sometimes two very independent people realize that they're just not, they don't click, you know? And that has been my experience for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, is that I will run into somebody who is independent, who stands on their own, who, you know, does what they need to do and cares for the people in their life. And both of us aren't willing to sacrifice what we have in our lives right now in order to be together. And in some cases, it's sort of like a right person, wrong time. Like, one of us is doing something that, you know, it just doesn't fit into our narrative. It doesn't fit into our lives right now. And I understand that. And sometimes it's just, I don't want to compromise that much. You know, it would mean moving across the country, or doing lots of things that I'm not ready for in my life, or maybe I won't ever be ready. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that independence is one of those characteristics that I don't think we talk a lot about in the dating world, in trying to find a relationship. But I think in terms of any relationship, independence is a really big milestone and indicator. You know, the parent-child relationship is based on independence. As soon as the child is independent from the parent, that relationship has been fully actualized. You know, that relationship is now perfect. You know, my parents and I, we are all independent human beings. We love being around each other and in each other's lives, but none of us are dependent on one another for anything. And so the relationship is now completely stress free, thankfully, and it just works because if there's a situation where I don't want to be involved at a family gathering or something, I don't have to be, I will take myself somewhere else for the day. So that kind of independence gives you a lot of freedom and protection. I talked a little bit about this in the coming out video about how to come out and, some advice on coming out as gay. And I think it applies here as well, because I said in that video that you should really try and be an independent human being before coming out to people that you don't know how they're going to react to you being gay. And basically, if you are a fully independent person, you really don't have to care what other people think. You do not have to care if you're going to have an aunt or an uncle who responds really negative to who you are as a person. You can just say, okay, well, guess I'll never see you at Thanksgiving anymore, so that's fine. And that independence gives you a lot of protection from people you don't want to be around. But this video, I'm basically trying to explain that being an independent human being gives you a lot of power in identifying what you're looking for in a, romantic relationship or just a relationship in general. I mean, a lot of my friends are totally independent, and I really like that. I can go weeks, sometimes months, without talking to friends, and as soon as one of us wants to hang out, we just message the other person and we make it happen because we're independent human beings, and communication every single day doesn't have to happen to know that I love these people and that they're amazing and they're independent and they're conquering the world the way they want to do it. And so those kinds of factors are really important, not just in romantic relationships, but your friendships too. So I don't know. I think I've said all I want to say. I don't want to drone on for you guys, but let me know what you think about independence and sort of fostering that kind of relationship, because I think it's really worth it. And honestly, it might make dating a little bit harder in the short term, because now you've got this new criteria that you are essentially looking at someone on the first or second date. You're getting to know this person, and then you realize, like, oh, this person is really dependent on this or that or whatever it might be. And you realize, like, oh, maybe he or she is not for me. And that's okay. It's totally okay to realize, like, oh, we're at different stages in our life. And it's also fine to look at your life and go, oh, I've got some work to do on this independence thing. And please don't beat yourself up and don't say, like, oh my gosh, I'm 54 and like I'm not independent. That's fine. Like, some people never reach a form of independence that they're happy with. And I hate to break it to you, but all of us end up dependent on somebody at the very end. As we age, as we get older, you start to depend on people, and that is absolutely okay. But I think if you are, out of high school, out of college, you're figuring out your life, you're figuring out where you want to do, striving for that independence and having that like personal responsibility, I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good goal to strive for. It's productive. Don't let it beat you up. We are all at different stages here, and there is no criteria that you have to be at a certain place by 30 years old, or a certain place by 50 years old, or a certain place by 80 years old. None of that exists. You get to be where you want to be, but using independence as a metric, I think, is pretty good. I've been thinking about this for a little bit. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and I think I'll end it off there. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this new format and this new video quality or whatever is better, or more good. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.